I will say, Ben, there's been a couple times at work I've had to like write the word winter, and every time now that I write the word winter, I think Tilda Swinter.
Yeah, it's a big Tilda Swinter.
Winter.
On that note, as you know, I don't know how to start the podcast, so it will either be that or something along the lines of "Welcome late to the movies." My name is Ben Holden. This is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a film that either I or a guest hadn't seen before, and really should have by now. This week, continuing big Tilda Swinter, a month celebrating the films of Tilda Swinton. It's Michael Clayton, left to right across your podcast dial. To talk it all through with us, we've got Lindsey.
What's that?
We got Greg.
Hey.
We got Ray.
Hi.
And we got Marshall.
Hello.
Co-pilots not pictured are Craig and Geark doing the recording. And I always hope in naming them, they will take mercy on us and not delete the recording right after we finish. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to like spoil the whole month or anything, but Tilda Swinton doesn't get sweatier in any of our other movies, right? Than this one.
Yeah, she's pretty sweaty in this one.
She's pretty sweaty.
Have you done a Lynch month before, presumably?
No, I know. Greg's been begging me to make him watch more David Lynch movies. So
I have been, yeah. Ever since Mulholland Drive.
His absolute all-time favorite film.
Yep. I don't think you've rated anything lower than that yet.
We'll see. Maybe I can change it today.
We'll see. I will caveat in advance, so I can't change my thoughts on this later. I appreciate that even in the face of me saying like, hey, this is my favorite movie, you have no problem being like 1.5 out of 5. I think that's good. I think it keeps the conversation interesting.
I don't mind hurting your feelings.
No, that is well documented.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before we get there, though, has anyone watched anything good recently?
Oddly enough, Ray and I actually rewatched all 7 Harry Potter movies, which is one of the reasons I sent you that gift the other day, Ben.
Okay.
We did, yes.
All right.
That's a time commitment.
That is.
Yeah, it was over the course of like several weeks.
Now it's interesting. It's interesting you said all 7.
8.
I meant 8. Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you just like make yourself watch the last 2 in one sitting and be like, no, this is just one movie?
No, we just don't believe in the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't believe in the Chamber of Secrets in our household. And I hadn't watched those movies in a long time, and as we were watching them, I talked a lot of shit on them because obviously there's a lot of shit that does not make any fucking sense in these movies. But overall, like, it's a nice series, like, of 8 movies, and I feel like there's no other like series that's that long that is actually like decent. Is there? You guys would know better.
Decent in the sense of like all good, or decent in the sense of like watchable, culturally sort of relevant throughout the whole run?
I guess both. I meant more like quality. You know, they're all fine. Like I don't think you're gonna find a lot of people who are like, oh, these movies are all fucking awful. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not like amazing or anything, but they're good. They're fun. They don't
really decline in quality either as it goes. You know, like they're all pretty consistent all the way through.
Yeah.
If anything, they probably get a little bit better, honestly.
Yeah. The tone changes a lot over the course of it. There's just not that many series that run that long in the first place. I guess there's a lot of Star Trek movies that have sort of, peaks and valleys in quality.
Yeah,
the only
I feel like
super long running series that comes to mind.
No one else has tried that. My other thought is I feel like sometimes people will try to adapt like a big book series and they'll do one, and then it's so bad they're just like, oh, okay, never mind.
Literally on the last episode, we were talking about the attempts at Chronicles of Narnia that I think they made 3 movies and then we're like, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And now Greta Gerwig's making more Chronicles of Narnia for Netflix, I think. So
I feel like they've tried before, but they just give up. But that's why they don't get as long. It's because they'll do like one or two and be like, okay, but these are all bombing. It doesn't. We're not going to keep going.
Yeah. Mission Impossible?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. But
I had a good time with those. It's fun to rewatch them, especially because there's just so many things that just make so little sense. And you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why are you doing this?
They didn't want to animate Dobby, so he's only in Chamber of Secrets until he saves Harry's life in the last movie. Well, in the last scene of the second to last movie, and then he dies immediately. And Harry's like, my best friend. He's like, you haven't seen him in 5 years.
I was saying that. I was like, he fucking loves Dobby. Dobby has done nothing except be an absolute asshole to him. Yeah. He's never done anything good for you. He's only tried to kill you.
A pretty relevant character throughout the book series that just like, they're like, we don't want to animate that guy again. He's literally not in any movie in between those moments. So
wow.
They all are like, they're all like so sad when Mad-Eye Moody dies too, like as if him and Harry are best friends. And Harry has never actually interacted with this guy in the movies. He only interacts with fake Mad-Eye Moody for a whole year. He never even meets real Mad-Eye Moody.
Yes, in the movie, he meets Mad-Eye Moody about 20 minutes before he dies.
Yes. He's like my best friend.
It's implied that they've had interactions in between adventures, all right?
Nope. Yeah, they became best friends off screen over the summer. Mad-Eye was just hanging out on Privet Drive for some reason.
Too many characters, all right? The movies can't do everything.
For the first 5 movies, all the Death Eaters are like menacing and evil, and they're all like, we're gonna fucking bring Voldemort back. And the second they bring Voldemort back, they're like, man, we fucking hate this guy. Like, I am so scared of him. I'm so sad and upset that he is back. They're all like crying every time he's around. I'm like, you guys remember him. He was around like 10 years ago. I'm sure it was exactly the same then. Like, why did you guys bring him back?
Yeah, that is the weirdest thing. It's like, yeah, it has only been 10 years. That reminds me of like the Star Wars sequels where people are like, yes, I heard a legend of the Jedi. And it's like, that was 30 years ago. It was like a major political event. That'd be like being like, oh, yes, I've heard tell of this Bill Clinton. It's like, no, that guy's still around. People remember him existing. It's weird that you guys all forgot that the emperor was murdered and his house blew up.
I feel never thought about that.
That wasn't
it's
that
a large galaxy, okay? It takes a lot of time for word to get around.
Your entire government was murdered and exploded, and everyone was like, yeah, I remember when who knows? I mean, that was, 25 years ago? Anyway, those movies are dumb.
So there's this movie called Michael Clayton that came out.
Just say, they're not bad, they're just dumb. You know what I mean?
They were a fun rewatch. I had a good time.
I think the Harry Potter movies do some interesting stuff. And I don't know.
If it makes anyone feel better, I did not support her while watching the movies.
Good. Understood. Understood.
We just saw All We Imagine Is Light.
Yeah, that's the last thing we saw.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it's worth watching. I think there was like a little bit, maybe too much hype around it. But I do think it was a good movie.
I mean, I didn't hear any of the hype. Marshall just told me that people were saying it was good, but
honestly, I think I kind of hyped it up for myself just because I think the title is really cool. I don't even know what it means, but I'm like, that sounds like a cool title, so I'm gonna definitely watch that movie. It's hard to come up with good titles.
I really liked. Yeah, I really liked the characters and like how real and wholesome it felt from like a real people perspective. But yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting story.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. I have seen this movie before. The first time I saw it was on a transatlantic flight. And the composition really came to life on the back of British Airways headrest. I've not. I think I revisited it like once since then.
Do you feel like that was the way the director intended it to be watched?
I think something
Always.
like I think Tony Gilroy, by the way, the writer director. I don't know. I feel like something like this, where it's like a lot of great performances and plotting and stuff happening, more than just like beautiful vistas. It kind of plays if you got to watch something on an airplane. I think it was a good choice. It was a weird vibes flight. I watched this in Atonement. So yeah, that was pretty huge bummer, actually. That's Atonement, though. How about you guys?
So I think I did probably watch it around Oscar season, like the year it came out, but not since then, and I barely remembered it. I think I remembered something about a car exploding, so turns out it was that movie. So I guess I did see it. I barely remembered anything about it, so I felt like I hadn't seen it.
What year did this
I've never
come
seen
out?
it.
2007. Lindsay, you said you'd never seen it?
Never seen it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like it came out when I was working at the movie theater, and I don't really remember anything about it. I didn't see it. But
We were still in high school. Yeah.
I've
maybe
never
we
seen
had a
this
movie
movie.
poster for it.
Yeah, it's in my atrium. I've never seen this movie. I had never even heard of it before, honestly.
Yeah, we were in high school. This is, ancient history relative to like when you guys started doing Oscar stuff hard. So even though it was in that conversation, obviously, way before the parties.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard legend of this movie or something nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, who can remember? No one was alive then. It's just like, it's just so like the entire galactic government collapsed and like no one remembers the details 20 years later. Like that would be kind of a big deal, no?
No.
No.
Why is Princess Leia still a rebel? Where they just like, that's it? What, they didn't do anything after the government was all murdered? They just let it be?
I missed the part where the segue occurred, so I'm just a little confused.
We all did.
Yeah,
So
don't worry.
it's interesting rewatching this for the first time in a long time. I honestly don't know if I've seen it since the back of that headrest. And I think I remember watching it late. It's, I don't even know if this is how it works anymore, but at the time it was like, oh, the movie was already 5 minutes in, but I started watching it then. And so when the movie this time, when I was watching it, began with the car exploding, I was like, I could have sworn that was at the end.
You were right.
I'm all crossed up. But yeah, the first few minutes are then shown to you later at the end in the last few minutes. In between, other stuff happens. Who feels comfortable about giving us a 1 minute plot summary?
I can do one.
Cool. I genuinely just fell out of my chair. Go for it.
Okay, Michael Clayton. A man inexplicably gets out of his car to pet some horses, and his car explodes. 4 days earlier. Michael Clayton is a man of indescript job. Works for a law firm, I guess. Does lawyery things, but not really. Maybe he's shady, I think. Things start going wrong with one of the lawyers. He has to go figure out what's going wrong. This whole case is going to fall apart. It turns out the lawyer found out that these people are really guilty and they killed a bunch of people with cancer from poisoning. And Michael Clayton's following this like trail and ends up, assassins show up. They kill that guy. Michael Clayton's mad about that. He figures out what's going on and then they have to assassinate him too. So they try to car bomb him. And now he's mad about that, so he exposes all this company, and then Tilda Swinton goes to jail, and then he goes in a cab ride. It's a kind of sad ending.
He's smiling at the end. They give him a little graduate send off there at the very end. Give me $50 worth. Great final line. Yeah, it isn't like super supported, like explicitly in the movie, why he wants to see those horses up close. But that's just a man who's like looking for some meaning in life, and he's like, maybe it's horses.
So did anybody else catch this? So when he was like flipping through the kid's book or whatever, there's an illustration. It's like the horses, right? That's the only thing that I can think.
That's the only thing I can think of is, in the book, there's one page that there's a horse on, but he flips through it fast. They do not linger on that fucking page.
There's a horse in a tree. Like, it's kind of the same, but like, yeah.
I
couldn't believe it, all right?
I got extra confused when it came back around, because at least the first time, I knew he was in like New York-ish, and I thought at first he had found wild horses. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? You live in like a city and you find wild horses. But then at the end, I realized they had the bridle or whatever on. And I was like, okay, these are just somebody's horses. He has not found wild. It's like, you're just in somebody's yard petting their horses.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like he's just so worked up at that point, and it's not like he's like, oh yeah, some horses. He just like kind of sees the horses and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And like the image of the horses connects the synapses fire, and he's thinking of the book or whatever, and he just runs up and I
gotta pet these horses right now.
It's such a good ending though. I don't know why I didn't like it. Tilda Swinton goes to jail. It's great. Academy Award for her.
Just to get out in front of it, I don't like to undisappoint you, but I was just fucking with you. I like this movie a lot, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's an elaborate bit.
That's funny, because I didn't really like it all that much.
Really? See, there was only two things that didn't sit with me well. The horses, but I enjoyed the rest enough where I was just like, oh, who cares? Whatever. He got out of the car for some reason. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever. He wants to look at the horses. And then the assassins were a little bit like, kind of pulled me out a little bit. I was like, oh, this seems a little too, a little too far-fetched for me. I would have liked it a little more grounded than the professional assassins that are just fucking wandering around.
Yeah. Say, Marshall, I wonder if you had a similar experience to me, which was like only partially remembering some details. I was like, yeah, I know the car explodes. And it's like, I didn't remember that it's really like his firm and then this company. And it's really this company that's trying to kill him. In my mind, it was like the firm was for some reason. And so that was sort of working against my expectations as we got more into it. And I realized like, oh no, that's not what's happening. His firm's just sort of like generically lawyer evil, but they're not actually trying to murder him and Arthur, played by Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah, I mean, I it's hard to overstate how little I remembered about this movie. Okay. So the whole, I mean, having watched the movie, I really enjoyed how sort of there was like crumbs of information kind of given to you over the course of the movie, and like it didn't really like hold the audience's hand. It kind of like, respected the audience enough to like figure it out. I really appreciated that about the movie. That being said, for like the first half, I was like, I don't fucking know what's going on right now, but I'm engaged.
Yeah, we were like 30 minutes in, and I was like kind of doing something while we were watching, so I wasn't like, my full eyeballs weren't on the screen, and so I was like, Marshall, you need to pause this movie. And I was like, what is this firm? Is like, I had the same question as you, Ben, about like his firm being the same as the other law firm, and like there was talk of an acquisition, so I didn't know if they were acquiring his company. And then Marshall didn't have any answers for my questions, and I was like,
he kept asking me questions. I was like, Lindsey, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, as I was getting more into it, I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. It's
like, looking back on it, I could have explained it, but like I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. His law firm is helping this pharma company through a settlement process.
That's been like dragged on for like 6 years or something.
Yes. Yeah. See, I feel like I didn't have any questions. I think because I was just along for the ride for a lot of it, and I was like, oh, it's coming. You know what I mean? The only thing I kept asking Ray is every time like he would start to do something, I would just go, what is this man's job?
Oh yeah. Well, he's a fixer.
He's a fixer. Yeah. I kind of like, I kind of knew his job was going to be fairly nondescript. You know what I mean? But
it's real. I don't know if that's one of those things where like hitmen don't exist in the real world. They're purely a fiction thing. Because I think that the only fixers I can think of are like him, Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction. Other like ones that just exist on law firms or like cleaners and organized crime and stuff. But I don't know if those guys actually exist, but I think the big, high-powered, really scummy law firms probably do have a guy like that who just has connections and is willing to do like underhanded stuff without a conscience.
I was upset. I was like, this guy, for his nondescript job, he should be getting a lot more money. 80 grand shouldn't be a big problem for this guy, right?
Well, he put all his money in the bar.
He has a gambling problem too.
Yeah, and he's got a relative problem, Uncle Timmy, who fucked up his bar business, and the bar was supposed to be a way out. So I think we're told he had a career as a litigator, and for the last 15 years he's been doing this, and now he like really wants out because he's just kind of tired of it. And then the sort of impetus for all the action of the movie is his sort of mentor figure, Tom Wilkinson's character, Arthur, has this mental breakdown and is trying to basically flip and give specifically one person of the like 400 person class action lawsuit all of the evidence against the company that they did in fact know that all of it, their product was killing people and giving everyone cancer, but didn't do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
It bothered me the whole movie where I knew Tilda Swinton's predecessor from, who's like now on the board, but used to be the counsel. And it was because he didn't have a mustache, which he does in his role in the later seasons of 30 Rock as the representative, as like the CEO of Cabletown, which is the Comcast stand-in on 30 Rock.
So he's just as evil.
There you go.
He's much jollier on 30 Rock. Anyway, Tilda Swinton is in this film, and it is big Tilda Swinter, so we should say she wins an Academy Award for this film, which watching it back is sort of a little bit astounding because it's not that I kind of want to go back and see like what clip did they show in the ceremony of her.
I hope it was her being sweaty in that bathroom.
It must have been, right? Like there's not a lot of scenes of just her acting. I guess they probably showed the like negotiation at the end, right, with Michael Clayton. But like she's great in that scene.
Her lines.
Yeah, all of that stuff's great. It's all so good, and like everything she does is prepared. And when she's caught out by Clayton there, and she hasn't rehearsed that conversation, and she just sort of falls apart.
She's
yeah. Yes. 5 is easier. And then I don't know, is this like the physicality of the way she collapses in the background while it's like blurry? It's fucking really good, and I guess it's like just undeniable. Give her an Academy Award. It was just weird,
like,
but whatever.
I'd be interested to hear like who the front runner was, because I feel like I remember it being a surprise that she won. Or I don't know. So I used to watch the Oscars all the time with my older siblings, and so I was kind of aware of narratives and who the front runners were and shit like that. And I think part of it was maybe we didn't really know who Tilda Swinton was before this movie came out. I think like I'm not an expert on her filmography, but feels like she maybe hadn't really been in a lot of like popular American movies before this point. She had been in maybe like more kind of art house fare. So I think, just that her being like relatively unknown, which seems kind of funny in hindsight. Just made for like a really big surprise that she won. I mean, but to the same point, like I feel like, in terms of runtime or whatever, that people have won for less of a performance or less screen time. So like whatever,
Yeah, I feel like she was like a smaller role here for sure. I mean, the movie's called Michael Clayton, so she wasn't Michael Clayton, I believe.
The only precursor award she won that year was a BAFTA, and since that's British and she is Scottish, that wasn't considered that much of a thing. And the other people who were nominated that year was Kate Blanchett and I'm Not There, Amy Ryan and Gone Baby Gone, and Ruby Dee and American Gangster had all won stuff also.
And they were all Oscar nominated?
Yes, and the other Oscar nominee was Tiny Saoirse Ronan in Atonement. Which I forgot she was nominated for that. She was like what, 14? Crazy.
Was Kate Blanchett the front runner?
So the first three had all also won precursors. So that year,
no
the
one
BAFTAs,
really knew.
Yeah, BAFTAs, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and SAG Awards were all won by a different person each that year in that category.
Well, that bodes well for Timothy that no one's won for Bob Dylan yet.
That's right.
Interesting. I'm looking up the, historical Academy Awards stuff too, and I didn't realize that on their website, like if you look at certain years, it'll give you like highlight clips. Like it'll tell you like the, best things that happened during the ceremony, and you can like play the videos and stuff.
Adrian Brody forcefully kissed Halle Berry.
Does it have Will Smith slapping Chris Rock?
I don't know.
And like an austere montage with like swelling music in the background, like our favorite memories.
What year was that? 2022?
I don't have that.
21?
Chris, I think. Yeah. Maybe 22. I don't know. That was so weird.
Was it
probably like the 20. It was probably the 22 like ceremony, but like the 21 movies or something.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I've heard legends of this event occurring years past. Check the archives.
And now I'm just imagining like the Academy Awards archive being like the Jedi archives. Just like,
yes.
The archive seems to have been erased. There's no
there's no
memory
videos.
here of a Will Smith.
Master
Yoda told me of Will Smith. He has to exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's one droid who has a map to Will Smith's house. We have to get him to the Resistance. He will be the spark that lights the revolution to get Will Smith's ban rescinded.
Oh man.
I was going to pick up on something Marshall said before that bit, but it was too good and I forgot.
But I honestly liked a lot of the performances in this one. I really liked
so good.
Who the lawyer Arthur. I liked Arthur a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Wilkinson, yeah. I mean, I didn't remember. So, like, before we watched the movie, I kind of just looked who was in the cast or whatever, because all I remembered was George Clooney and Tilda Swinton. And when I saw Tom Wilkinson's name, I didn't really remember his performance or anything, but I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, Tom Wilkinson he's just so good in everything. And I feel like he's super underrated. No one really, like, thinks of him, I guess, or talks about his career much. But, like, everything I've ever seen him in, he's just, like, he steals every scene that he's in. He's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like I like him in this too, because I feel like when they have a character who they're like, oh, this guy's off his meds, I feel like it could be kind of like cheap and be like, oh, they can hand wave like, oh, he's off his meds. But I feel like he does a really good job of being like, well, it seems like he's off his meds, but it also seems like he's had like this almost like epiphany moment where he realizes like he's the bad guy. And like you can have that with a character not off their meds. And so like by having him there, it's like this weird kind of like middle ground where you're like, well, like how much of this is off the meds and how much is he just realizes like I'm the bad guy, like I have to fix this kind of thing. So I don't know, I thought that was really cool.
Makes for a good thriller.
It does. He has to operate at such a high temperature that the moments where he's locked in, I feel like, are that much more compelling. Locked in as far as like calmly just doing something strategically, like when he starts reading the papers off because he knows his phone's being tapped with the jingle from their commercial in the background and like his running commentary on all the bullshit they're saying. I think that's awesome. I love that it's almost like a throwaway line that Clooney has a couple scenes before it pays off, where he's like, yeah, we like, oh, you want to find a lawyer who knows a lot about like incarcerating people for mental illness without their permission. Well, Arthur knows more about that than anyone else in the state of New York. And then when he's confronting him and he's sort of like dissembling, and he's kind of being like kind of weak and being like, oh yeah, I was like collecting my thoughts to call you. And then he immediately like flips the switch into like super high powered, not afraid of anyone lawyer mode, and goes through all of this stuff. And he's like, you think you got the horses for that? I just love that line.
Yeah, it's as soon as he like threatens him a little bit with like the psychiatric thing, he's like, well, you should have kept me in that other state. And that was I think like,
because in the state of New York, you can't, I don't have a criminal record, I'm not a danger to myself, you have to prove that to a judge, and you think you got the horses for that? It's horses again. Horses. Oh, what does it mean? Yeah, that's what he was like. Finally, I have the horses. What does it mean?
I have the horses Arthur wants me to get. Here they are.
Arthur, yes, it was Arthur is telling him to find the horses, and it saved his life.
Let me get these back to my car.
But yeah, and I think like that, and that's like, then it's a really cool moment, and it's well performed. But then later on, when Michael goes to Sidney Pollack, I forgot his name, Marty or Artie, and he's like, I know, like he's in the tone of like, I know this is going to sound crazy. What if he wasn't crazy? What if he was right, but just presenting the information in sort of a bizarre manner? The scene where he dies is like legit chilling too. It's just the sort of the matter of fact manner of the way those hitmen kill him.
And it just like is so efficient the way they do it. Yeah, that sequence is really great.
It is like really, it gives you like a kind of helpless feeling and how undramatic it is that like, yep, they just do it and it's done.
Yeah. There's like nothing that can be done to stop it. In and out, like nothing. Yeah.
I was thinking how bummed I'd be if I went to open my door one day and two hitmen just immediately killed me.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be bummed for long.
I guess I wouldn't be bummed for long, but I was like, man, that sucks.
Yeah, there's no like monologue, there's no back and forth. They're just like, yeah, those guys. I love that the hitmen in this definitely have the vibe of like, I don't want to say like plumbers, but like tradesmen. Like this is just what they do. Yeah. You know, it's not dramatic or sexy to them.
They're the bad fixers, and George Clooney's the good fixer. See,
right?
Fixers have to have a code, all right?
Yeah, they're like not creative. They're just doing whatever.
I wasn't sure at first if Tilda Swinton knew what she had asked them to do, but then I was like, oh, yeah, I guess she does. No.
Yeah,
I think she does. Yeah.
She was trying to hedge with the he's like, we deal in absolutes. She's like, okay, understood. I hear you. Okay. So, okay, like proceed and then the next scene you see them is, yeah.
Yeah, I got the vibe that she was just like, didn't want to like have to say it. She wanted them to just go do it kind of thing. Cause then it's like, oh, well, it's not like they just went, did it. I didn't.
But she's also thinking sort of like from a legal standpoint, right? She's like trying to not be liable if they get caught or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like part of the complexity of the Tilda Swinton performance in like a really subtle way is you feel all of her trying to put on the face of someone who is a lot more confident than she is and trying to be like, don't call Don. We don't need to call him. I've got it under control. Like I'm fine. We don't need to involve him. And you're just like, oh yeah, she just wants stuff. Can't quite get there. But I don't know. What's the name? Sorry, go for it.
I don't like how quickly they decide they're going to kill Michael. Because Michael hasn't even like, at that point, we're not like certain that he's going to flip. He hasn't like, he's like kind of considering it, but then he talks to Marty and he's like, oh yeah, this is probably not a good idea. You know what I mean? To do like, until he realizes they've killed, when does he even, he doesn't even realize they've killed Arthur until the car bombing, right? That's when he's like, Arthur was assassinated. So like, if they don't go to kill him, I think he just goes back on, he just fucks off. You know what I mean? The problem is just because they try to kill him.
Yep. Yeah. And I think in that moment where you can see his wheels turning and then he like throws his phone in his wallet and his keys back in the car and runs off. You're like, oh, is he just like going to go over the border and disappear? And you're like, oh no, he immediately in his mind was like, oh, they killed Arthur. Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
And that cop that he owes a favor that the movie seeded so expertly earlier comes back and he gets to do him a favor. And I guess they're cool now.
I was thinking about that though. I was like, is throwing your fucking wallet and your watch in a car enough to be like, oh, the body was in there? Like, wouldn't there be other remnants of your person that would also be there? Like, I that didn't make sense to me, but I let it
Probably.
go.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
that-
Wild to figure
Not
it
like-
out.
It's not like your body is like completely eviscerated, right? Like, I mean, there would, I don't know, bones or
it's a
something.
big fire, right? They're out in
Yeah.
Westchester. It's going to take the cops a while to get there.
my like kind of hand wave to that was like, oh, maybe they will realize he wasn't in there, but like it
It'll
takes
take a
forensics a
minute.
couple of days to be like, oh no,
Yeah.
this definitely was not a person in here.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I told myself to let it go, but at the
Yeah.
time I was like, I don't, that the math
Yeah.
doesn't math for me on that, but okay.
I don't know if they say what time the meeting happens, but that happens at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. because the sun's just coming up. And then I think like by mid-morning, he's talking to Tilda Swinton and like the word's already spread that he got car bombed.
I was
It's
also
so
thinking
dramatic, though.
before he threw the wallet, I was like, did he pull some cash out? Like, how's he gonna get back into town?
He knows a guy.
In the woods.
There's
He takes
somebody.
the horses.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
horses.
the horses.
It's the
If he rode in on
horses.
the horse, I would have been like,
Now
oh, sick,
I'm
it makes sense.
really disappointed that there wasn't a scene of him just like, yeah, just like fucking sunrise in the background.
Oh man, that would have been sick.
If after he walked out of that building and is like, I just need some air, and then he just like sort of all disheveled and tired, just like climbs on a horse and just like trots out of Manhattan, it would have been great. Missed opportunity, Tony Gilroy.
Jesus.
What a fucking
Star
bum.
Wars. Oh,
Go write another Star War, you prick. Anyway, it all comes back together. Tony Gilroy's only worked in Star Wars for like the last decade after writing and directing this movie.
Did you call
Whatever.
it a Star War?
Yeah.
Like
It's
a
an-
one
yeah.
singular.
Yeah,
I've
go see a
never
Star
heard it
War.
worded that
It's
way.
an Arrested Development bit.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah. Here's $5. Go see a Star War. Yeah. I remember what I wanted to pick up on before. Just that Tom Wilkinson's really good. He's British. You wouldn't know. He's got a great voice.
Oh,
One
Which one's Tom Wilkinson? Sorry.
Arthur, the older
Arthur, okay.
lawyer who
Yeah,
goes crazy.
I see.
Or does he? Or he goes sane, maybe. He's went. You mentioned Tar before, Greg. Before Tar came out, I watched all of Todd Field's movies, which wasn't that hard. He'd only made two before Tar. One of them is the first one's In the Bedroom, in which Tom Wilkinson stars and gets a Best Actor nomination, one of the very few leading roles he's in. And I was absolutely fucking blown away by Tom Wilkinson in that movie. And it's like, holy shit. I didn't know that guy could do that. And it's like a very different role than this, but I would recommend In the Bedroom. He's amazing in it. It's not like a fun movie, but he's really good in it.
does he also strip in that movie?
No, his soul, maybe?
You would think.
He's like really like lays his soul out there. It's crazy. Anyway, that movie's great. Sorry, but yeah, I like the ending. I like he has the book. He does the talking, tells her you're fucked. But to your point, Greg, it's the car bomb is very dramatic. That's obviously not going to be investigated as a suicide.
Yes, the car like, but well, I'll get into my problems with the assassins, but I did really like the ending. Honestly, the whole his little like negotiation with Tilda Swinton, because like I kind of figured, I was like, oh, he's wearing a wire or something, you know what I mean? But for a second, I was like, is he just gonna try to get money out of this? I was like, because he's not very like sympathetic of a character throughout this, you know what I mean?
No. It's got that great layer of he's been sort of wrestling with who am I? What do I do? What do I offer? What am I good at? And so while he's playing it up for the fact that he's wearing a wire, you're also like, is this actually what he thinks about himself? Like the cop who put this wire on him told him the last time we saw the cop, no, like you've got everyone fooled by yourself. You know exactly what you are. And he tells her, I just love the line, I'm not the guy you kill. I'm the guy you pay or whatever. I'm the guy you buy.
Mhm.
I'm the guy you buy.
Yeah.
And
Cool
it's
shit.
so funny because it was like, yeah, it was so good. That his whole like conversation with her, I thought was really, really good. I love him with his little like God of Death line or something.
Yep.
And I love him just going in the cab and like just the credits are rolling while he's just like sitting in the back of the cab. You know what I mean?
It's good shit.
I really like that. I couldn't take it seriously though. Literally, as soon as he gets in the car and he's like, just $50, just drive. The cab drives like half a block, and I went, okay, get out.
Yeah, that was $50. It's a surge pricing.
But yeah, I really like that ending and like him just sitting there. It was, I don't know, I like because it's like a happy enough ending, like where it's like the bad guys lose, but like the good guy doesn't really win. You know what I mean? I like
no, he has
like
no
that.
career after this.
So I feel like they leave it like it's a little ambiguous. Like, sure, they tell him that whole thing, like, oh, the company would fail and stuff, but like that's before you find out they killed Arthur. And I was like, now it's a little different. You know what I mean? I feel like that puts some different pieces into play. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little open. Like maybe I don't know. But yeah, he definitely doesn't get a good ending. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a happy ending. But it's nice the bad guys lose, so that's good.
He probably feels a lot better about himself, but like his firm is probably very fucked because they're going to be super implicated in a lot of the pharma company's problems, you'd have to think. And even if like all of those people get arrested from the pharma company, whoever's left is going to sue his employers because he just did that to their company, right?
Maybe. I feel like it's tough because like I feel like you get a little bit of leeway when a company tries to assassinate you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
is it like corporate self-defense?
I feel like you lose the attorney-client privilege once the client tries to assassinate you.
Yeah,
fair point.
He has admitted it on tape, right?
Right? You like that's kind of gone. I feel like at that point. I feel like you could argue in court, like, well, they should have known the attorney-client privilege was over when they tried to car bomb me.
That is like it's not like a laugh moment, but like after his car explodes, and then like I guess maybe because the only other time you've seen the assassins work, it was like very obviously set up to look like a suicide. It's like I guess maybe they can like try and maybe it looks like an accident forensically somehow. And then the very next scene is a guy like poking his head in someone else's office and be like, "You hear about Michael Clayton? He got fucking car bombed." Someone murdered him with a bomb.
Yeah. So like I know they're like a shady like multinational pharma corporation, but how do you find assassins?
Do that, right?
You can't find assassins, and like if you do, who's well, like it's just too much for me. Like just. And it's like a car bomb in the middle, like they were going to blow him up in like what, the middle of New York City? They weren't planning on him driving out to where horses live. He was just on like a residential, like
That's
a
so true.
city block. You know what I mean? We're just going to blow him up on a city block.
Yeah, they were like shocked.
This.
They even say like, "Why is he out here?" And one guy's like, "Maybe he got lost." Like, I don't know. And then he just goes flying by them in the other direction and starts like driving like a madman. And it's kind of a car chase. It's not even clear if Michael Clayton knows that they're chasing him or he's just driving angry for no reason.
He kind of drives like that the whole movie, if you notice.
Right, yeah.
Like even when his kid's in the car, he like throws into reverse to get over like his sister's driveway. And he's like, and like takes off. I'm like, why are you driving like this?
Just
Your
aggressive.
kid's in the front seat. I don't even think he's old enough to be there.
Hey, since you guys are parents, is that like a good lesson he imparts on his kid of just like, you're going to be tough. No one's going to mess with you. You're not going to be like a shitty person.
I don't think so. Not the way he says it.
No,
he used a lot of slurs in his lesson.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like when a teacher swears in front of you and you're like, ooh, this part's important.
You're not going to be a shithead like your uncle. I can tell just by looking at you.
I don't know where you got it from because your whole family's shitty. Including me. Where's that kid's mom? Is she in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt
I
like
got
the
confused
movie...
between his mom and George Clooney's sister or sister-in-law or something. Yeah.
I feel like this movie does a really good job with like getting you through all the basic stuff using little like, okay, yep, here's a mom and like a dad feeding a baby, and like this kid's going outside to see his dad. I was immediately like, okay, you know the whole family dynamic.
Yep, that's fair.
Like we're good. You know what I mean? They've explained it all to me, and I feel like they do that with a lot of stuff to like kind of shortcut you through that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I see what's happening. His whole like job, his thing, you know, they shortcut you through what he does too. It like that first little interaction with the
shitty rich guy with the Jaguar.
Yes,
in Westchester.
Like that's all you really need to be like, okay, I understand kind of what he does. Like it's enough.
Yeah. And then like seeing that in the first scene, you're like, oh, you understand what he does. And then it's like so cool when you see it again later in the movie and it sort of recontextualizes like, oh no, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. This is him being like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. This sucks.
Yeah, I gotta try to get you away with you just fucking murdered some random dude, and he, as soon as he like is driving away and he's driving like a madman, I looked at Ray. I was like, he's gonna hit that guy again. He's gotta slow down.
Yeah. They never cover if like, I guess the guy was sure that he had left him alive or whatever, but like, I don't know. It's 2007. You don't know if people are out there going on midnight runs with cell phones. Like, how do we know that guy isn't still in the middle of the road? Has anyone checked?
It didn't seem clear that he was sure this guy's not dead in the middle of the road.
Yeah. There's just like when Clayton's like, oh, you better hope he doesn't remember the license plate or whatever.
Oh,
yeah. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that anyone ever says, yeah, he was there. He was fine.
Yeah.
He made it to a payphone before I left the scene. Like, anyway, yeah, that guy sucks. I'd quit my job after talking to that guy too.
He does suck, that guy.
The last movie that you guys did that featured the director, Sidney Pollack, in an acting role was Eyes Wide Shut. He's in a similar kind of vibe here. So Eyes Wide Shut, he plays the older kind of but much richer friend of Tom Cruise who hosts the party at the beginning and then gives him like the very serious talk at the end. And then in this movie, he's Michael Clayton's boss who like lends him the $80,000.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is he also a doctor in Eyes Wide Shut?
I can't remember if he's just like a local rich guy, but he might also be a doctor.
Because Tom Cruise's character is a doctor, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like
rich guy.
He's just a rich guy? Okay.
I think so.
I've only seen that movie once. For some reason, I was thinking he was like also a doctor. So I was going to say the relationship would feel very similar because they're both kind of in the legal field, right? They work.
Yeah. But I think because we watched Eyes Wide Shut so recently, I'm like waiting for the turn to come where, is it Artie or Marty? I forget.
Marty.
Marty is like, I knew all of these things were happening and I was fine with it because you fucked up so bad. And it's like, oh no, he's just sort of like, he's just kind of like a generic asshole.
Yeah, he's like, we have so many clients that do all sorts of corporate bullshit. Like, this is just like the way the world works kind of character. Not like specifically evil or malicious, but just like, kind of a corporate asshole.
Yeah.
Yes, he's just like, our clients. This is what we do.
This is what we do. Yeah, you're just waking up to the fact that we do bad stuff. Like, this is what we've always done.
Uh-huh. And
he like kind of, I don't know that he actually cares about Clayton. He values him. And there's like the great scene where Clooney's like, well, if this merger happens, like, I don't know how I'm going to explain to anybody what I do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the other thing about his character too, right? Is he's on his way out, right? Like, whatever, they're combining with this other firm and he's just like cashing his check and retiring. So he especially isn't trying to get like into a complicated thing over this fucking thing. He just wants it all to be done so he can, move on with his life.
Yeah.
He does right by Michael, at least, because when he like airs all the concerns, he's like, well, I didn't know you had any of these concerns. And then he does kind of fix it. He's like, here's the money, here's the contract, so that you'll be all set when the merger goes through. And like,
yeah.
So he's like, fine.
I like that guy's kind of only in one scene. There's like the one caveat: you got to work with this guy who sucks. And the guy comes in, he's like, "I'm shitty." He's like, "I fucking hate you. You're shitty." And he's like, "Yeah, but he knows he's shitty." He's like, "Yeah, I do. Fuck you, Michael Clayton." That's the only scene that guy's in, I think.
Just to really bring home that Michael Clayton wants to move on to brighter horizons.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's going to be your new boss going forward. So the guy's like, ha ha, I hate you.
Can you imagine a worse fate, right?
Yeah.
No. One last complaint with this movie. Nothing makes me want to watch a movie less than a movie just being somebody's name.
Tar.
I didn't know that was their name. I thought it was going to be something like prehistoric. It was going to be about like tar pits.
Yeah. And it's good because the title Tar is also ironic because it's not actually her last name. We all get it.
Yeah.
When you said Tar at first, what came through the mic was car, and I was like, oh, he must have said Cars. And I was like, I mean, that is a movie about cars, but I guess it's not anyone's name.
It's not his name.
Owen Wilson plays Car. No? I haven't seen the film.
Yes, Owen Wilson is Cars in that one.
Yeah, he plays Cars.
Lightning McCar.
Yeah, Lightning McCars. And he goes, pow!
Yeah.
That's it.
Pow! It's me, Cars. Whoa.
No, but like a movie just being someone's name, I'm never super thrilled to be like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be real exciting.
What about like Spider-Man?
Okay, that's
Harry Potter.
that's a little different.
You just said Harry Potter.
You just watched a Harry Potter movie.
They get a little subtitle at least. You know what I mean?
I got a sprinkle of plot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why you guys are so looking forward to Emilia Perez. I know, which we talked about earlier in the podcast. Yeah. What's other like good examples of name movies?
I'm looking at my shelf, so I'm not really finding much.
They don't usually do it because
Edward Scissorhands.
See, that's because I was gonna say the thing is names aren't exciting, but when your last name is Scissorhands, it like
Scissors in my hands.
I mean, come on, The Thing. We love The Thing.
Is his name The Thing?
That's more.
Yeah,
that's
the
more of like
character
an
is
it.
The Thing.
Yeah, it is the thing.
Yeah.
Robin Hood.
Great. Indiana Jones. Yeah, it gets a subtitle. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then the other ones are subtitles. So yeah, it's just
people usually refer to him by the subtitle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have. Have I shown you my Christmas present from my cousin?
What was it up there?
Have I shown you my Christmas present from my cousin? Speaking of The Thing.
No.
Okay, let me grab it. I'll be right back.
If it's not a 3D model of The Thing, I'm going to be upset.
I know.
No, that was a birthday present from like a year ago that I got, which is a 3D model of The Thing.
No way.
I hope it's the head with like the spider legs coming out of it. It's remote controlled. That'd be sick.
An RC one, yeah.
Yeah. I want that now. Ben, I want to remote control the spider head.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's see if this is probably going to come in and out of blurriness, so you'll just get fractions of it, which is maybe funnier. Let's see. There you go. Perfect. You get it.
Yeah.
All right. Guess what it was?
CPR scene print.
Almost. I don't really want to unblur my background, but I guess I will. Looks like that. Yeah. See it?
It's Peanuts.
Snoopy.
That would have been a good white elephant gift.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Wild. Who did that?
I don't know. They said they were just on Etsy searching like the thing and just seeing what pops up, and they were like, "Yes, absolutely, Christmas."
Oh my god.
And I just love how like resolute. I think it's Linus that's about to burn Snoopy here. He just looks so determined. I love it.
That's so funny.
All right, Greg, how do we feel about Shrek?
I don't like Shrek. I just talked to Ray about this the other day.
As a person?
Well, it's
Yeah,
just
or as a
it's
movie.
movie with the title of the characters, the title.
Same thing. It's not super exciting. It's a little more exciting because at least it's like not a normal name.
Well, yeah, I don't know this name.
And it's just a first name, I think. Wait, does Shrek have a last name?
Johnson.
They'll never tell you though.
So.
Statistically, it's probably Johnson.
I thought I saw another one.
So I think
Steve Jobs.
That doesn't sound exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To your point, Greg, it's not that you think all those movies are bad. It's just that you don't like get excited to seek them out.
Yes. When a movie is just someone's name, Barry Lyndon. That's one I've heard you guys talk about.
Right.
It doesn't excite me because I'm like, okay, it doesn't tell me anything at all about this movie. Not that I need to know. I prefer not to know about movies going in, but like, it just, I don't know.
John Wick.
Nosferatu, John Wick, Forrest Gump. But yeah, like that just sounds like
I've never seen any of the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
No. It's not exciting.
I 100% agree with you.
Oh my God. This is a list of 47 of them. And yeah, none of them sound interesting. I've seen a lot of them and they're good, but they don't sound interesting. You're not wrong.
I like this movie. I really enjoyed this movie, but like prior to watching it, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know the genre. I didn't know anything about it. And I was not excited to watch it.
They have a good counterpoint. Technically, Speed Racer would count. And the Wachowski Speed Racer is dope. I'll be a revisionist on that.
I need to rewatch that. I haven't seen it since it came out.
It was not well liked when it came out. Anyway, back. What else we got to say about this film? We've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes, so there's probably something in there.
I would like to add a clarification. You guys have been mentioning that it's a pharma company. I believe it is a farming company, not a pharma company.
You're right.
That uses chemical for their stuff. Okay, yeah. I was gotten caught up on the chemical part of it because they grow stuff. So it's Monsanto. It's not Pfizer.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
He also evil.
Pick your poison, literally, right?
Yeah.
I like Michael Clayton has one really good like joke in this movie when Tilda Swinton comes out of the little meeting in the end and she sees him there and she's like all surprised. She says, "Wait till you see Arthur come out," or something like that.
Yeah. I seen him walking.
Arthur's back over there. You didn't see him walking by?
It's great.
I'm just kidding. He's super dead.
Yeah, you did murder him.
Yeah, really fucked up joke. Wicked funny.
Yeah,
but also sets the table for when he's like, "I sold out Arthur for $80,000," and she's like, "I mean, it seemed like you liked it, but you did just make that off-color joke about him, so I guess you did." I like the inverse, an opportunity for a joke or like a fun gotcha line or like lower it, like put his sunglasses on and say a punchline at the end where he's like finished with her, but instead like he just leads and goes, "You're fucked." That's great. That's great characterization too. It's like, yeah, he doesn't actually have like a good flourish at the end. He's just like, "You're fucked." I fucking got you.
I mean, I think that kind of, I don't know, if you think about it, it's just like he's said everything he's needed to say to like incriminate her, and at that point, like he doesn't have to say anything clever, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Like
now, when they play this tape to the jury, do they cut it off before he says "you're fucked," or does the jury get to hear that?
Yeah, it's probably still good evidence because she's like, so is that a yes? Or like she says something like that, like she's trying to like, she's realizing what's happening, but it's like slowly dawning on her. It's like, that's probably admissible too.
I like that his brilliant reveal is just to take like an open flip phone out of his pocket. Like it's just such an old piece of technology. Like, oh
like
god.
takes a photo of her.
Can you even hear it through that, you know?
I'm gonna take a 6 megapixel photo of you too.
Yeah, like why does he take the photo
So
too?
funny.
It is.
Unclear. It's like, oh, he needs to prove this happened. It's like, oh no, the cops are in the room also. They see this happening.
They can probably
They're barely
hear it.
out of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Like,
no more than 30 feet away.
The cell phone manufacturer maybe put a little bit of money into the movie. All right.
Yeah.
Product.
Yeah. Smile for my Motorola Razr, you idiot.
Lit.
Yeah. It's cool he didn't say that, but he should have. I guess is what we're all saying. Do you want to get to ratings or anything else we should hit on? We all at least like the ending for the bits.
Good bits.
Cool. Good bits. All right. On a scale of 0.5 to 5, on any scale of your choosing, aside from stars, what would you give Tony Gilroy's 2007 film, Michael Clayton?
I'm ready. 4 out of 5 horses that you have to pet.
He finally got the horses. Life-saving horses.
I'll go. Also 4 out of 5. Syringes between toes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Brutal.
2.5 sweaty armpits in a bathroom. 5.
You got to practice.
I'll give it 3 out of 5 spiral bound incriminating memos.
I'll slightly pivot because mine was going to be similar, but I'll say 5 out of 5 Kinko's printed copies of Realm and Conquest with the blue covers.
Limited edition.
We ran out of red. We only had 2,000.
We didn't even get to see that. That was just a line.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does beg the question, like, and that's at the point where they're like, Michael's got one of those things over there, and she's like, well, then you got to blow him up. And it's like, maybe he was just bringing them back to his office to be like, you're not going to believe what Arthur did. Check this shit out. We got to destroy these on our client's behalf. But they're like, no, just blow them up.
I was gonna say, like, she has no idea what's going on because, like, that's seemingly what Michael was going to do. Was gonna be like, we got to deal with this. Like, this is my job is to fix things, and look, I found something to be fixed.
Yeah, he like brings it back to his office. He brings it into his boss's room, presumably. Like, if you're just spying on him, you could be like, oh yeah, he probably was like, hey, check this out. There's like 5,000 more of those. We need like a team to go get those.
I cannot carry all these. I at least need a hand truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the question we've been asking this month for Big Tilda Swinter is, if a movie was made about your life, what role would Tilda Swinton play?
I think she'd probably be me. I think in the movie because I'm really
so versatile.
Sweaty.
That's also true.
Yes, I'm pretty sweaty, so I feel like it's like just she slots right in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even right now, I'm like, oh, I need like.
I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she would have played Quigley in my life.
She could do a good Quigley, I think, honestly.
Oh yeah, she'd kill it.
I think she would.
She could just use like the same teeth she had in Snowpiercer, because I feel like he would make that face kind of.
Yeah. She likes to play really weird roles, and she's like kind of gangly, sort of.
She is. I could see it. Yeah.
I did really enjoy seeing her in this movie, like playing like a normal kind of person. I feel like everything I've seen her in, she's just kind of bizarre.
She hasn't done many roles where she has like an American accent.
Right.
Not that I can think of.
need to look at a list of Tilda Swinton movies to get inspired because I don't have any characters in my life that are like the one we just watched.
I don't know. So like I'm kind of thinking about it way too literally for the fun of the prompt. I mean, it has to be a supporting character because they don't hardly give her lead roles. I don't know. I feel like, with some prosthetics and stuff, she could maybe look like my grandma from Tennessee, and I feel like she would maybe have fun with that accent. So that's all I got right now.
I threw out a picture of her. Quigley used to make this face all the time.
That's fantastic.
All right, let me find this. Yes. Looks just like him.
I can see it.
I feel like she's like, I don't know, one of my coworkers or something, like she's like in an office working away. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see that.
Is she like a background character? I feel like
yeah.
The first movie of the month, she works in an office a lot. We need to talk about Kevin. She spends a lot of time working in an office.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. She could play my therapist, I think. She plays a therapist in the newer Suspiria, but she plays him as an old German man.
Fun.
Yeah. I think that's maybe something like that.
And your therapist is an old German man, correct?
No, she's the lady. She's in her 30s.
Oh, your therapist.
I'm just saying she could make it.
This. Does she listen to this?
Not all the time. I don't think she listens this far into any episode. Who would?
One other thing I was gonna say about Michael Clayton is just I wish there were more thrillers like it. I feel like there's not too many movies getting made nowadays that are sort of just kind of smartly written original like thrillers. Yeah, I mean the closest thing that I can think of that's come out in like the last like 6 years or whatever was it Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo, and that movie was really good. Didn't anybody see that?
No,
I didn't.
If you like Michael Clayton, I feel like you should look into it. It's not like exactly the same, but it's definitely similar.
Thanks everyone for being on this here podcast. Next up is the 2018 Suspiria, in which Tilda Swinton plays 3 roles. I hope that episode comes out this month. And then next month is Cat's Hog month, and we're going to be watching Cats all month long. So I'll get you guys on the calendar for Cats.
I'm excited. I've been talking about this for years. I'm excited to see it.
It's finally coming. I can't wait.
So I'm so confused.
No, you're not. You know what it is. You just wish it wasn't true.
Every week is the movie Cats.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be on every episode. I have to be on every episode with different people. I don't know if I did the Linktree thing. You find our stuff on Linktree, linktr.ee/link to the movies. And catch you next time for more Tilda Swinton.